Welcome back. We're finally getting around to using it. You've seen it in the videos in the past. This is the Anker F3800 portable battery storage. So this thing's insane. It has an output capacity of over 6,000 watts. That there is the expansion battery that I've been sent as well, that plugs in and sits on top to give it additional power. It's got wheels, it's got a handle that lifts up. Just a few specs what we've got. On the front, we've got 2 USB-A outputs at 12 watt. We've got 3 USB-C outputs at 100 watt. We've got a surge of 9,000 watts, which is actually insane. We've got 1 car socket output, which is like an EV port there in the top left. And we have an RV port, which is what we were going to be using today. Throughout the video, which I'll explain what we're doing in a minute, I'll be putting tech specs of both the expansion battery and the main battery up on the screen. More information, the better. But I want to get on with this. So what we're going to be doing. If you've seen the other videos leading up to this, you've seen it in the background. This is a changeover switch. This allows you to have your fuse board coming out the bottom, your grid in, and then a different supply in here as well. So we've got 3 ways. The only difference is this is a 3-phase board. Normally, I did try and do this at home, but my other half wasn't having none of it. And I don't think my mom wanted me to either. So we're going to be doing it on the board. A few technical details we've got to twist and get round with the 3-phase board is, there's 3 phases. The battery is a single phase. I don't use this as a 3-phase board for what it is. I don't have any 3-phase outlets or anything other than this car charger, which I was filming the other day. For the purpose of this video, this is all getting removed. We're getting rid of the 3-phase. So I'm going to disconnect L2 and L3 from the mains ISO here. We're keeping the neutral, we're keeping L1. They're still going to be wired in here, but they'll be completely disconnected that end. Everything then, we're going to have to change everything over to L1. I was originally just going to do the lights, but the videos leading up to this, everyone was like, well, you might as well do everything because there's nothing really running. So I'll explain in a minute. Changeover switch is going up there with some grommet. So the whole purpose that I can see for this battery, because it's so portable with the wheels especially, it does weigh quite a bit. I think it's around 60 to 7 kg. And then we've got the expansion battery on top, which changes the capacity up to, it's just there on the screen, because I can't remember. If you go camping, you do a lot of stuff outdoors. I can see something like this being really useful for people that live out in the countryside that are prone to power cut and loss of power. So I'm going to do this as a backup battery storage system that we plug in. And this all ties into the other stuff that we're doing from the other videos of having, I was going to go for solar there on the outside, but we're going to go for on the roof. And I've had a lot of lovely messages about this, so thank you very much. I'm trying to get through them all. Because this can directly charge from solar as well, but that's how I'm not going to do it. I'm going to be creating solar panels on the roof that come down to an inverter here to our tiny little fuse board, which will have a double socket, which will then plug this in. So all the beautiful free energy that we have will then charge up our massive power bank, portable power bank. And then as and when, if I want to, if the power cut or anything happens, or I want to go, yeah, let's just use some free electricity for once. We do the changeover switch, we engage the Anker, and it powers the whole unit. This would be exactly the same thing if you were to do this at home. It's just obviously a little bit different here because of this. First things first, let's kill the supply. Let's take out let's take out L2 and L3. Move all this stuff around. And then we're going to be popping this up top. Up there, we're going to put some glands in. I think there is a way that we could have done the 3-phase, which I figured out from the last video, is there's no way in the top of this changeover switch you could physically fit 4 25mm tails that I can physically see whatsoever. Another way you could do it if you wanted to keep the 3-phase, which someone said to me is another possibility. You could leave this as intact, but you've got to take all the tails out. You've got to put somehow all of these in here if this was a deeper box. And then when you plug the Anker into this, you just link out the 3 phases in it. Obviously the ampage is going to be nowhere near what it is 3-phase, but it'd be enough to get lights on, see what you do and charge a few batteries. But we're going to be using the RV port, which is on it here, which we've got ourselves a little plug, HO7 6mm 3-core, which is going to be plugging into that, and then the other end of this will be glanded into our changeover switch, and that's how it's going to work. Power's off. Also, I get a chance to use this kit, which is sick, which I paid for by myself, just to let you all know, from Mr. Bezos. I got it from him himself. I literally messaged him, Jeff, sorts out, bro. I don't think it needs to be said, but then again, it does say on the wrappers of some kids' toys or some food wrappers that says do not consume. Don't do this unless you're a qualified electrician if you're watching this. Most of my audience are. If not, I know a lot of people, DIYs that watch this, do not play with electrics unless you're competent or qualified, okay? So I'm not having to go and buy more cable and mess around with it, because I actually thought I had loads of spare tails, which I don't. I'm going to mount it here as close as I can, just lip these up out the way in here. It would be so much simpler if I could have done this at home. Also, if people weren't fully aware, Anker has given me this. The whole purpose with the channel when I get sent stuff is I'll happily accept stuff if I can find a use for it, and this is for them to show how an electrician in the UK, an influencer as you want to say, as people want to call me, gross, how we would benefit from it, how we would use it, how, if we were to be given it like we are, what would we do with it? Like you say, I do go camping with the kids. You guys saw when I did the mezzanine, just up there, I've got the camping stuff. And then when we go camping next, am I going to take this with me? Absolutely. Because you can charge kettles from it, you can use a microwave on it, you can do the hoovers on it, you can inflate the beds on it. You can have a full kitchen setup in this, as long as you use it correctly and bit by bit. But you've got a 9,000 watt surge. That's insane. You could just run lights on there for a couple of days, do a few little string lights. So, been given it for free. This is how I would use it. I'm copying the idea that Jerry Rigg in America, massive YouTuber in America, he did a very similar thing. If you watch my other videos, you will know what I'm about to say. Is in America, when they have these in their fuse boards, not a 3-phase one, but a normal domestic one, you can have a separate one fitted. So your main breaker here, top is grid tie, middle is off, and on the bottom is off grid, so it's your battery storage that engages. He did a video, really cool, nice little one. He did it for his friend where he ran the supply cable all the way through and it had a changeover box, but it was like a normal fuse board with this breaker involved. So as and when they were prone to power cuts, because there's a lot of tornadoes over there or natural disasters, it does take power lines go down, you know, this, that, and the other. When the stuff goes, they can go, no worries, back off, change it onto off grid. I just love the concept of it. If you don't want to fork out for a built-in battery storage system, or you want some stuff that every now and then you can plug and go, I like it so far. So I've had it for about 2 weeks now. I've just not got around to doing it. Anyway, shut up, Nick. Let's go on with this. So I'm just going over now and changing everything to L1. That there is sockets. These two, there's nothing in. This was the car charger that I've already disconnected. You've got more sockets, which is the alarm socket here for the Wi-Fi. That one is the outside light, which is currently disconnected because I was halfway through putting solar panels and realised what was the point. That was cool. So that can stay dead. And then we've got 2 lighting circuits. One is the main lights in here. One is the back lights for the back toilet. So we're going to make sure we just stick them all on L1. L1 is our brown one. And obviously if we're doing this and messing around with it, we need to make sure we're changing our earth fly leads to the correct label and also our neutral fly leads in the bar. And this isn't an impact, it's just a combi. I'm just undoing stuff, okay? Right, we've got them switched over now. L1, 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 L1. The other one that's widening is the outside light, which I'm not using, that's fine. I've just pulled the L2 and L3 into the board here. I will put some tape on it, but that won't become live. Unless something shorts out in here, then the whole board's knackered. So the way the layout is, left would be whatever you wanted and right one. You can choose whichever one you want. This is the power in, this is the power out. So those two need to go in there, depending how we want to mount this. So I've just found out 25mm tails will fit through a 20mm stuffing gland. This is a big no-no for commercial, especially if the board is metal. We've had a lot of comments in the past with eddy currents and loads of other stuff. Domestic, it doesn't really matter. In this situation, it doesn't matter either, because this is a plastic enclosure. I want to just put a few holes in this, a few stuffing glands in the bottom, just to grip it in place. This isn't going to be a permanent fixture here. This is going to get changed back at some point, so I could do the EV charger. Hence, we're not wanting to extend cables and cut stuff out or replace stuff, because it is getting changed back up until when we get the solar and that's charging properly and we get it all working seamlessly. But you'll have to wait for that one. A few people have been asking me about my little setup. This is the Milwaukee M12 combi. It's got a 6-amp bit in it. And this is the sort of, I like to let me know your like little loadout, the little drills you go to, because this is my Armeg extension bit holder, which I absolutely love. In the side, which I've never really liked before, I've never really used this on other drills, it's a bit holder, but because obviously the car charger was doing all the fuse board changes, I always constantly lose my hole saw sets. The fact that I put them in, and don't get me wrong, Adam used this on the last job we were on, and he decided, you know when you're putting a screw in and you put the thing in and you bang the bottom. He did that, and yeah, that was on the bottom. I keep it 20mm at 25mm, and then we've got the Armeg bit as well. I've got the little set, but it slots in nicely, and this is like the go-to. I mean, it might seem excessive, but the amount of times you actually use this is insane. So yeah, that's my little loadout. If you do have something similar, let me know your little loadouts below, or any little bit holders or whatever, because you can never beat a good bit holder. Now we're all holed up, which is that. I know they're offset, I've just followed what was on there. I'm just going to do the ones I can now, loosely, and I'm just going the top this way. This is going to be our feed to the board. We're going to get this on one side, make sure it's nice and tight, and we're going to do the neutral. I'm then going to get the HO7, do it on the other side to get that in place. I think there's about 10 meters on the thing. But obviously what we need to make sure we do as it comes down, in my personal preference, is we need to get this clipped to the wall as well. So when it comes to doing the battery storage stuff, to my knowledge, nowadays, if you have a hardwired installation of a battery, the way it works, if you have a changeover switch or it switches from battery to grid, you have to switch the earthing arrangements, or you put a spike in. And I think the regulations have changed now where you can put a spike in, even if it's a PME like this one, you can put a spike in as well. Because let's say if we did get the loss of power here and I go, oh right, oh the power's gone off, and I do the changeover switch, but what actually has happened, we've lost the earth as well because it's PME. So if it's the neutral's blown up, which means the earth is blown up, we've now got a complete live installation with no earth, and then I turn around and switch it over to the power bank, we still don't have an earth. So in this situation right now, I'm not going to, but you would stick a earth rod in. So you've always got that. You've always got an earthing conductor that's intact, that's working to cover you for all your different accessories to trip, to work properly and safely. But that's the way the world is at the moment, so make sure you've got your earth. But when I'm doing this now, I know I'm happy I've got an earth for the purpose of this video and video only when I use it. We can test that there's an earth, I'm happy. I'm going to plug it on, I'm going to plug some stuff in so you guys can see it's working, and we'll turn it off and it'll go back to the way it was until we can play with it a bit more. We can stick a spike in, we can cover ourselves that. Any other tips and tricks that you guys have that do the battery stuff, let me know. If I'm completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the way it would work, is make sure you've got a secondary earth. And if you do the switch over, the PME would go into the switch over, you turn it across, the TT would activate, or the TT would be part of the PME system anyway, so you would just link it through. I'm just doing our commando socket at the moment. We've got a hideously long lead. We can wall mount this and then have a play. Obviously we want to be making sure we're matching up all of this, and if it was a single phase, like I said earlier with the earthing arrangements, because this is a 4-pole changeover switch, you could just use one of the changeovers as the earth. Instead of a 3-phase version, you could put the earth in, change it over if you wanted to. I can't see why you would ever want to change over the earthing system, but definitely add to it with the spike. That makes complete sense. Right, so in theory with all the things I've done, this is on. Left hand side will be on grid. If we open this up, we turn and now we have power. Let's go and check our voltage over at the socket. We're going to get our power bank. RV port time. There is an app which I've got, because if you guys haven't watched the other video, I have got the smaller Anker, so this is my lights on sensor on the thing. I've got the smaller one, I can't remember the name, I'll put it up here. I've still got it plugged in at home under my computer, which I use as a UPS for my PlayStation, the Wi-Fi, my Mac, my iPad, and the cameras as well, which works a treat, and it's kicked in twice. The disconnection time, I think, is the same as this. I'll put it on the screen between when the power goes out and this kicks in. I mean, it's instant. It's literally instant. I couldn't tell the other day. The kids were, the power's gone off. And I'm still like, not for me. Anyway, I've just disabled the app because I forgot my password, so I've got to wait 10 minutes for it to kick in. But the app is really interesting to look at, because every time my power bank, obviously it uses the power sometimes. If I've got a few things on, it's drawing more from the power bank than it is charging from the grid, which is fine. And then I'll go downstairs, 10 minutes later, I'll get an update on the app saying power bank 100% fully charged. So you can monitor it, and this is even when I'm at home. If I'm out, it also does the same thing because it's connected to the Wi-Fi. This is exactly the same, and on top of it as well, you can charge this off solar. I'll put the times on the screen now of how quickly it can charge off solar depending on input, and equally how fast this charges completely flat to 80%. It's something insanely quick of the size of the battery, And just after I've done this as well, I'll show you how easy and simple it is to attach the extra battery storage. But you can actually have up to 6 of them on top, or next to each other. They're all linking together with this really nice corded cable, and you get an insane amount of output. It's mental for what is a portable power bank. It's insane. The technology we get nowadays is wicked. Anyway, let's get to this. That'll disable in a minute so I can show you this. So we're going to plug this in. You can see on there, that's on. I'm trying to do this there. That's 100%. Okay. Right now, I'm going to switch over. I'm going to move my isolation switch to the center, which will be off. And then I'm going to turn it to the right, which will engage this. And then all we need to do is click this little button on the side and it'll engage. This commando will output the 16 amp. Like I said earlier, you have got an EV port here, which is a plug top one to be able to charge your car enough, I would have thought, to get it to a near a proper charging station to top it up properly. Obviously, because the size of a kilowatt, I think it's like 70 kilowatt batteries they have in cars, it will drain this very quickly, but this will top you up enough to get to one. In my eyes, that's how it would work. Power going off, power going over. This little cheeky button. And there you go. Wicked cool. So currently working, excuse the state of this, I know what it's like. That's off the plug top, let me spin you around. That light's off the plug. This heater is very hot and working. Fantastic. Another one, let's turn that off and never put that on again. Next thing is these lights, as we know, are off the plug down there from the guys I watched them recently. So far it's worked a treat. I've got lights, I've got enough to put a heater on. We can boil the kettle directly. Obviously this is a 16 amp commando output that's kicking out there. I'm not quite sure on the wattage yet. If I can find it, I will put it on the screen. Because we've got the one output that's going and feeding the entire board, let's say. And you could overload it to a point. It's off a 6mm and technically it's a 16 amp outlet. But you have got 4 other outlets, well technically 5 with the EV socket as well. We want to use the kettle. Go and plug the kettle straight into it. You've got 9,000 watt peak and you've got 6,000 watt output capacity. So I'm going to turn the power off. But it's a wicked bit of kit. Let me just try and get the app working and we'll wrap the video up. While I'm waiting for my 10 minutes, because I've got my 10-minute lockout. So this is the battery. That sits on top like that, and then there's a cable. Big, thick, braided cable, Anker, sick. Plug that in, like that. 100%, it's linked to it now. We've got a DC output, our AC output. AC output at the moment is 25 watts. Car port, which is the charger, USB outputs. Currently 100% at 17 degrees. Obviously that will differ. Time remaining of usage, 1 day, 14 hours, 24 minutes. So let's see what happens to the app when we plug the battery in. Right, battery is in, simple as that. It's all right, all my alarms are all going off. That is now kicking in to register that's on. We've got a light on the side. And then, let's say, so remaining usage in time, 3 days, 2 hours, 18 minutes, because it's now recognised that it's got the other battery. And obviously you could stack these up, you put side by side, you can have loads of them if you wanted to. But yeah, works an absolute treat. Anker do sell the flexible solar panels, so if you do go camping or you're out in the sticks and you want to charge it up through that, you can do as well. And yeah, works a treat. There's so much that we can do and so much information to be put on. And we're putting in loads of other videos in the future and have a play with it. But for now, technically we've gone off grid. Technically, and if I had solar panels to pop this in and charge it up through the sun power, we'd be on for a winner. So if you like this, I'll put all the links below for Anker. If there's any promotional stuff for this, for you guys, it would down in the top pinned comment below. Anker, thank you very much. You guys, thank you very much. And I'll see you on the next one. Love you, bye.